Ora viva, estamos aqui de volta com Vampyr, episódio 6. Então, eu durante o intervalozinho, estive a fabricar aqui umas curazinhas, aumentei também a saúde que a minha dentada regenera durante o combate. E também fui descobrir que este rapaz aqui está com um resfriado, ou uma constipação. Ele foi aquele que nós resgatámos aqui em Whitechapel.
Good evening,
falar
sir.
com ele.
Do you remember me?
If you're here for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed. But I'll gladly shake the hand of a fellow countryman.
I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed from the Pembroke.
A doctor? In Whitechapel? What an opportunity. My name's Bates. Cadogan Bates.
Do you require assistance, Mr. Bates?
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people round here. That would help my business, because I say a live tenant's a paying tenant.
Exatamente, este foi o homem que estava a cobrar a renda dos Skulls que o atacaram, não é? Oi! Enganei-me. Enganei-me. Solta. Enganei. Carreguei no B errado. Anda, filho.
Mr. Bates,
Evening, Doctor.
since I took an oath to help people, can I be of assistance?
Well, seen better days, that's for sure. But it was bound to happen with all these refugees about.
Este tem uma constipaçãozita, por isso.
Infecting you is probably the last thing on these people's minds. Take this, in any case.
What? You give me this for free? Don't have a clue about this place, do you?
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane. She's a nurse. What can you tell me about her?
Dorothy Crane, bless her soul. I really should thank her someday.
Ela tratou?
Has she treated you?
No. When I need a checkup, I'd go to a bloody doctor, not some back alley clinic full of sick foreigners.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
Para já não vai ser preciso. Mas que ele já está a recuperar. Ainda temos aqui alguns cidadãos que estão adoentados. Este aqui, o que é que ele tem? Uma enxaqueca, ainda não consegui fazer a cura para a enxaqueca, ainda não tenho disponível. Este tem bronquite. Ok, mas é este aqui que temos de encontrar. Quer dizer, já o encontramos no episódio anterior, só temos é de investigar o homem. Exato. Vamos lá ver se eu consigo ver isto aqui assim. Está ali alguém com tosse. Esta rua até já parece mais viva, desde a última vez que cá tivemos.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Isto tudo menos colega.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Ok, para já nada.
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Andas aí a vender banha da cobra, oh, caramba. Tu estás saudável.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
Filho da mãe. Estás armado em parvo, mal agradecido. Da cá. Damn! Pá, onde é que eles querem que eu leve, pá? Ainda bem. É, estão a ver aquele rastro aquizinho à frente, né? Não, nós temos de seguir este rastro pelos vistos até um sítio seguro. Vais estar armado em parvo? Vais ser abraçado. Está por estar mais em parvo.
No. Not now. Not me. Please. I'll be good.
Aham. Fixe, um revólver. Velocidade. Ah, exato. Esquece, agora estava parvo. Eu sei que sim. Mas que eu estava armado em parvo. Era um criminoso, por isso, vá para o caraças. Está aqui só vendo banha da cobra, por isso também não é muito prejudicial à saúde do distrito. Este está fino. E agora vamos aqui falar com este bacana.
Mr. Bates.
Evening, Doctor.
It's unusual to see someone so happy around here, especially considering the current situation.
Why should I be sad now? There've always been wars, disease, tragedy. There always will be.
That's an unusual way of seeing things in these trying times.
I don't see why I should shed a tear for another man's woes. I'm healthy, and I intend to stay so.
Ok. Qual é o seu ramo?
What is your business exactly?
I offer fair lodgings for a modest price to the poor and weary of Whitechapel.
I see. And what about those who cannot pay?
Well, deals can be done, if you know what I mean. Money's not the only currency. After all, I'm not immune to a pretty face.
Really, dude?
You obviously place yourself above the misery of Whitechapel, but you are as repellent an individual as I have ever met.
Begging your pardon, I thought you was a man who could appreciate the complexity of the modern world. Things ain't just black and white, you know.
Yeah, mas o que tu estás a fazer é completamente criminoso.
Tell me, what's your honest opinion of the increasing violence in London?
People are just beginning to discover what we've always known. This city's rotten to the core. They just took their bloody time to wake up and notice it.
What do you mean?
People are acting like the violence is news. But it's always been savage down here. It just bubbles to the surface every now and again.
What help could I possibly be to your business?
That's simple. I already get good money from all those fleeing the war. Can you imagine what they'd be willing to pay if I could offer medical assistance too?
Mr. Bates, do not make me regret saving your life in this quarantine zone.
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from a good family. Don't want to get your hands dirty. That's fine. I'll be happy to act as your middleman.
I'm no saint, but to take advantage as you do, you are a despicable man who could only prosper in these dark times.
So it's a no then. That's too bad. The Reed tonic could have really helped people, you know, save lives. Isn't that what you do? I mean, people buy that Swanborough.
Meu. Escroque.
You seem to have recovered well since your attack. Do you ever think about what happened to you?
Not much. It was a nightmare. Savages, absolute bloody savages. Their appearance. Jesus. It made me want to puke.
You'd better not come back here. I won't be around next time to save you. Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
Ah, mas a porra que este gajo ainda vai ser útil de certeza, deixa lá ver. Ainda está em recuperação. Vamos lá ver o que é que encontramos mais para aqui. Opa, temos aqui desconhecidos. What up?
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Do you need help, sir?
I only need you to purchase something from my shop, sir.
Fixe, está saudável, não está? Ah, pois.
Right then. Show me what you have.
Ah, tá. É meu. O que é que eu te posso vender? Armas de fogo. Revólver do Albert. Posso-me livrar disto. Quero-lhe vender garrafas. Este é fixe. Empunhadura. Ok. Estás satisfeito? Já agora?
Fancy buying something?
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane. So the bitch really is a nurse then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
É claro, a culpa dos imigrantes.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Fixe.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Joe Peterson. Ok, temos uma pista nova. E de um Barrett Lewis também. Fixe. Algo fora do
As a
comum.
merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
What you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violência está crescendo.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Magoso.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Ok, temos uma investigação nova para fazer.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Onde é que está? Benjamin Palmer. Este ainda tem enxaqueca. Este ainda está a recuperar. Joe Peterson e Barrett Lewis. Exato, temos aqui duas pistas sobre eles. Fixe. Agora só resta encontrá-los. Está aqui. Peterson, fala comigo.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
É, está fino, ok.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense of others. Perhaps that's just the law of nature.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Oh, temos uma pista nova.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighbourhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Pelo menos é honesto. Pistas, Nurse Crane.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Ok, temos pistas novas, né? Barrett Lewis. Vamos cá falar com este bacana.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. But these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
Desespero pode ser um veneno.
Without making excuses for him, it's safe to say that despair can poison even the sanest mind.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
Sim, realmente.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against the wet boot boy.
Ok, ok.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Vamos lá ver o que é cá para aqui.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Ok. Não sei que investigação é que foi esta, mas está-se bem.
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Bem, em primeiro lugar. Fadiga.
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired. I don't know if it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concern, sir.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Não é culpado pelos atos do seu pai.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Ah, meu, não te culpes, meu. Não faças isso contigo mesmo.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine. I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could be tough, like... Well, you know.
Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Fixe. Não gosta de morar em Whitechapel?
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
This place is awful, I agree. But does that not mean your situation can only improve?
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
Este gajo está com uma depressão daquelas com camandro, meu. Estás com uma depressão mesmo boa, estás?
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
Exatamente.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
O miúdo está com uma depressão
Is there
daquelas...
only pain and suffering in this world?
Está com uma depressão daquelas agressivas, meu. Fixe. Meu, sério. Acaba lá de fazer o que tens a fazer. Eu não olho, vá. Já está?
You again? What do you want this time?
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Nenhum arrependimento?
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Ok, calma.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Bem, descobrimos aqui umas quantas personagens interessantes, sim senhor. Temos ali um padre, provavelmente. E aqui uma mulher.
Pay me a bottle and I'll be nasty.
E provavelmente uma prostituta.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling, but I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor, Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick, though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Eu. Fadiga.
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Descobri aqui qualquer pista, mas... não sei sobre quem.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu.
So,
She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
fixe. Ok, já tem recurso.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Ok. Primeira prostituta útil que eu conheci no mundo. Em 30 anos. Só podia ser num jogo, né? Ora bem, temos aqui este padrezico.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Está saudável, ok.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Pronto.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Ok, és um bocado irresponsável, és.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men, With my own eyes I have seen them. Those minions from the abyss.
Então este gajo já viu os vampiros e a besta que ele se deve referir é tipo o vampiro final, não é? Entre aspas, Drácula, por falta de um nome melhor.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Fire is just the instinctive answer of a caveman facing something he does not understand. This is the 20th century.
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher, a small-time Torquemada, the Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fibre.
Nunca conheceste freiras, filho.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Nunca conheceste uma
Before
freira na
coming to
vida.
London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Virou comunista, é? Ok.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Este padre vai ser a próxima vítima. Nossa senhora. 3350 de experiência.
Soon the time will come when you will all be...
Deixa-me só aqui. Este ainda está aqui em enxaqueca. Estes três estão a recuperar. Pistas. Ok, já descobri aqui estas pistas sobre esta gente toda. Yeah. Bem, então vou fazer aqui uma cena. Vou ao refúgio. Vou só aqui ao refúgio. Assim mostro já também onde é que é. É aqui para cima, é esta portinha. Ótimo. O que é isto? Ah, fixe. Bora. Vamos lá ver o que é que eu consigo fabricar agora. Onde é que estava a mesa? Onde é que estava a mesa? Ah, está aqui. É esta a mesa. Ainda posso fazer aqui uma coisa para a fadiga. Posso fazer disto. Posso fazer disto. Ok, para a bronquite ainda não posso. Pois, falta-me sempre aquele... Ih, preciso de codieira também. Ok. Ótimo. Esta não posso fazer nada. Aqui com isto. Aí é bem, preciso de componentes de... daqueles, ok. O que é que eu posso fazer aqui com isto? Nada. Serras. 75. Calma aí, velocidade. 15, 20. 15. 13,5. Yeah. Vamos, esta gasta imenso. Ok. Está feito. Ora bem, o que é que eu posso fazer aqui? Poder de fogo 62, fixe. Ou diminui o tempo de recarga. Vamos aqui para esta. Preciso de mais gatilhos, ok. Já agora. Reduz o consumo de vigor. Ótimo. Ok. Está-se bem. Fixe. Vamos só encher aqui isto. E vamos tentar evoluir mais um bocadinho. Isto é o quê? Garras. Isto é fixe. Isto é fixe. Isto aqui é fixe. 1000. Ótimo. Vamos confirmar. Ah! Albert Palmer abraçou. Sim, aquele eu sei. Foi de propósito. Depois de continuar a morrer de bronquite. Oh, fixe, já estão todos curados. Ótimo. Está tudo doente, oh caramba. Fadiga. 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 E ainda não consegui curar a cafeleira dele. Ora bem, quantas fadigas é que eu tenho? 1, 2... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ai, é bem, preciso de 7 curas para a fadiga. Nossa senhora. Ok. Então vou fabricá-las no instante, a ver se eu consigo. Tenho 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ótimo. Ótimo, ok. Hospital de Pembroke. Vamos lá para aqui. No entanto, este episódio vai ficando por aqui. Sim, é um episódio mais pequeno para compensar os outros que têm ficado enormes. E foi um episódio para dar-nos aqui a conhecer um bocadinho da população de Whitechapel. Por isso eu espero que tenham gostado, né? Deste episódio um bocadinho mais calminho, mais informativo. Se tiverem gostado, podem deixar o vosso gosto, né? Podem subscrever no canal para mais conteúdo deste e outro. E então eu vejo-vos no próximo episódio. Fui!